I'm Sandy Moses, faculty for Newstate University, and I'm talking today with Joelle Tegwen about her career path and her work with Agile transformation, including her work with product management. So Joelle, hello.
Hello, Sandy. Thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about what you do now.
So I transform struggling software teams into high-performing ones that deliver what products that customers actually want. And I do that through my role as an Agile coach, as a consultant in a boutique consulting firm. And to do that, I focus on outcome-driven approaches, sustainable delivery practices, solving meaningful problems, so that people can really do their best work. I also provide training on what I call genuine agility, so customer-focused, high-quality experiments, and good technical excellence.
And how did you get into this field?
So I started out as a software developer. I had been an admin, actually, and I had a lot of friends in software, and they got me into the software field. And so I started as a programmer, and I was working at a research institute at the university, and I got brought in on this project kind of at the end to finish it up. It was for a grant. They did grant-funded research, and so I finished up the project, and we released it about 2 months before the grant ended, and they were sure they were going to get renewed, and they didn't. And we also found out that there were a lot of things that we did that were wrong. We built things we shouldn't have built. We overbuilt things. We underbuilt things. We made some bad assumptions about how things should work, but we had no money to fix it. And I said, there's got to be a better way. And so I went out on the internet and started searching and found this thing called Scrum. And I really like that process of doing things in incremental pieces and learning as you go. And so I've been doing Agile and Scrum right from the get-go on my software development career. I went up the track, did more software engineering. I became an engineering manager after a couple of years. And there, I really fell in love with the people side of the problems. So when I was there, I had teams that, like, the marketing people wouldn't even talk to the software developers. There's like 50 people in this company. And so I got them together to solve the problems and really enjoyed that. And so when I left there, I had several jobs as a coach and as a Scrum Master, often doing consulting or working for small local firms, and really fell in love with the consulting side. I really fell into the consulting side at the beginning of COVID, when lots of people were doing job transitions. And I started at my consulting firm, and I've been there ever since, doing coaching and Scrum Mastering, helping out teams.
Well, what's your favorite part of all of that?
I love that aha moment when teams fall in love with a customer problem and discovering a solution together to solve that problem instead of being handing things. They're used to being just handed things to build this, build that. Here's these detailed specifications. And when they get to that point, we're like, oh, there's this problem and I can help solve it. I've got the tools to solve this problem. When they're doing that in collaboration, like, that is a fantastic moment. And the consulting, I love the challenge of solving complex problems. So I'm often brought in when they're doing major change work or something's going pretty seriously wrong. So I really like that challenge. And the other thing consulting gives me is a lot of variety. I see a lot of different places. I see a lot of different problems, and that accelerates my learning cycle.
Well, that's how I met you. You were brought in to help with the WellMed Agile transformation. Yes. So I'm glad we stayed connected. And I'm going to ask you this. What is the least favorite part of what you do?
It's exhausting.
Yes.
There's always more work to do than there is time to do it. It's a very emotional work, connecting with people, helping them see their problems. And I say, if clients don't understand what I'm doing, that's my fault, not theirs.
Yeah.
Like, it's up to me to help them understand what we're trying to do and where we're trying to go. And it's really sad to me how often I see agility done with title changes and with no change in process or skill building, because people aren't really set up for success in a situation like that.
Yes, that would be difficult. What recommendation would you give to someone specifically who might be getting into product management, where you're using the agile practices to the best of your capability? What would you recommend they do to get into that kind of career?
I have 3 main recommendations. The first one is you need a holistic approach to your product. You can't just be thinking about the customers, and you can't just be thinking about features. You can't just be thinking about features. You got to be thinking about the customers. You got to think about the business solutions. You got to think about the technical components of it. If you don't have that holistic view, some part of your product isn't going to be well supported. And then the second one is like a result of that, you have to focus on vision and strategy, the strategy you're going to use to accomplish that. If you're in the weeds writing detailed stories and doing a lot of administrative work for your team, you can't have that big picture focus. You can't help everyone stay focused on that North Star that everyone's driving towards and getting the buy-in that that's the North Star that we're going for, which results in you're going to have to tell people no. If you want a focused vision and a quality vision for your product, there's things you have to say no to. So every morning when you get up, look in the mirror and say no 3 times so that you can start building that muscle and getting okay with saying no. Obviously, you want to say something more than that when you tell people no, but get comfortable with that word, because you need that in order to not have a product that's scattered and lacks focus and vision.
That's great advice. That's great advice. I live that. So thank you. Can you tell me about a time when you supported agile transformation in an organization, and then how you worked through the product management to support that transformation?
So I was consulting at a boutique financial broker dealer, think like LPL Financial, but much smaller. And they were doing a full shift in IT to a product-focused mindset. So they wanted to have their product owners out of the weeds, focusing on the customer problems. They wanted their developers and QA people to be focused on those customer problems and helping solve them. And they wanted to really shift from that technical application focused sort of approach to that customer centric, looking at how to solve their problems approach.
And can you paint a picture for us and tell us kind of what was going on while you were doing this transformation?
So in addition to all of that, they were restructuring tech folks from very specialized skill-based to multi-skilled. So they wanted devs to be able to help with QA. They wanted them to learn different applications and be able to solve, so they could solve problems more holistically. They had this old legacy application, and the way one of the developers described it to me is that it is technical debt. It doesn't have technical debt. It is technical debt. And because of the way it was built, it was very hard to change. Some of the decisions that had been made, like, really locked in how it was put together. And so what they were trying to do was build a replacement application for the one that they had. In addition, they're broker dealers, so they've got connections to all these different external applications, and they're actually syncing data through a lot of those. So they've got this really deep set of complexity of all these external dependencies for all the things that they wanted to do.
Wow,